Hi, I'm Foster Rhodes, and this is Spark the Madness, and I am so excited to introduce you to my good friend, Alison LeBrun. She is an artist, performer, and also a permission to play facilitator. She injects fun and joy into people's lives with honoring the full range of human emotions and the experience that we are and that is us. And she is absolutely just a unicorn of a human being. And today we're going to be talking about self care. So let's dive right in.
Clothes over there on the fan, my cat likes the closet door open, not closed.
It's a window into our souls,
Yeah, window into the real.
Yeah, exactly.
The real that's happening over here.
I'm wearing sweatpants right now. Like, come on.
I love it. Okay, cool.
Yeah. All right. I also want to start. I just tried this the other day, but I wanted to start off like doing like funny faces and like sounds. So
Yes. Okay,
like,
cool.
get us into that like playful mood. So if you want to just get, like close to the camera and we just do a bunch of faces and stuff.
Okay, cool. Like copy you or just whatever?
Just do whatever you want. Okay. Just like channel emotions, like or whatever,
Okay, cool. I love that. Okay. Really happy. Really happy.
Awesome.
That was awesome. I needed that.
Likewise.
Actually, I think that would be like a great way to start every day. I think I need to just do that in the mirror every day.
Yeah, sometimes like when I'm like before I brush my teeth or anything like that, I just like need to get myself in the mood. I'm just like, all right, I don't even want to do like, especially like self-care routines sometimes are hard for me. So it's just like finding that space to just be like, okay, how can I make this fun in this moment?
Yes, totally. Like if self-care routines get like too serious, I'm just like, no, I can't. Let's just like no more seriousness. That's why I need to do self-care because there's like a level of like intensity going on in here that's like, like a little too intense and serious about like this whole thing life. So like, could we just like play a little?
Yeah, exactly. Let me just like get back down to the baseline of like what the fuck is actually going on here.
Right.
It's like anything I feel like with like routines or like consistency, like I used to like just like play that I was just like consistently inconsistent.
Yeah, I love that. I can, yes, that is such truth for me. Yes, I'm consistently inconsistent. I need things to change regularly. And some people would call that ADD or like a lack of focus. And I'm like, no, that's just how I am in the world.
Exactly. It's like I'm a starter, like I am that spark to get something started. But it's like, if you want me to like stay around and like see it through like 6 months later, like, I don't know if I'm your girl.
Right. Hire someone else, like not me.
Exactly. Yeah, like even like with the movie and everything, like I realized that like when it was like this collective thing, like when it was a lot of people, it was so much easier to get the momentum of it going. And then when it came down to like me editing it by myself, like I literally just had moments where it's like I love like watching these people's faces, but like trying to figure out how to edit and learning right now makes me want to break my computer in half. Like I just couldn't do it. And I felt like so isolated and alone. And I was just like, I can't even just like look at this footage right now.
I love that. I totally can relate to that. I have that situation with my website, which has yet to be created and has been wanting to be created for like, I don't know, 7 years, something like that. Like there's like the long journey, but it's just something about for me, like sitting with just a laptop. Like I do a lot of work on my phone, actually. Like, I don't know what it is about the phone. There's something, it's like smaller, like it just like less intimidating. Like I can hold it. I can like move my hand. Like I can like walk around with it. Like I can lay down. I don't know. It feels like it's more suited for like my needs, which is like to constantly be moving and not really like sitting down.
That's how I felt like about my iPad. It's something about like actually being able to like touch like touch what I need to like interact with too, you know, because I feel like, like he's like there's this like separation and I'm just like I can't, and like I have like arthritis in my hands, so it's like typing for long periods of time I'm just like I don't even want to do this anymore.
No, like I feel like laptops are like very avoidant. If like we were to like how like categorize them as like in a relationship, they're seriously avoidant. Like they do not want to connect with you. You're like trying to connect. You're like, can I hug? Can I mold you? Can I like can we like work together? Can I? And it's like, no, it doesn't have any budging. Like it doesn't really want to budge. I will say I do like my laptop for like playback theater. I've been doing a lot of playback theater over COVID, and it's so fun because it's kind of like improv theater. I don't know, like it's really hard to explain. It sounds really lame, but it's really fun actually. But I love using it because I'll like put it below, like I'll move my laptop around, like I'll do like a scene like this, or I'll like, you know, like whatever, I'll like be in my bed and I'll like hold my laptop like that. Like I like that for the camera. I'm like, okay, the camera's cool.
Cool. Yeah. I've actually like, never really heard of playback, but my dad just like sent me this invite to like a playback thing that he's doing like soon. So I was just like, okay, so I'll get to like just like check that out and see. Cause like I feel like there's just been a wall in front of my creativity. I was just like been like just meditating and just doing very like self-isolated work and everything like that. And I'm just like, okay. And just like working with kindness and like working with like, it's okay to have this space. Like, this is my hermit time and that's fine, you know?
Yes. Yeah. Like creativity is like, one of my friends, Jess Grippo, she says creativity has seasons and, you know, like we're not always in like summer season. Sometimes it's winter season in our creativity. And like, for me, that's, I don't know, maybe it's like being I don't want to bring the whole like horoscope thing in, but I'm like, maybe it's being an Aries. Like I always want it to be spring. Like I'm just like, let's bloom all the time. But like, it's just not realistic. Like it doesn't.
It really isn't. It's like I always like take it back to like this idea of the Energizer Bunny. I'm like I'm not a battery. Like I'm not gonna like just go. Like I'm gonna die at one point if I just keep going like that. Like I need to allow myself to ebb and flow and like recharge. And it's like these like, periods where it's just like if I can't even show up for myself, like how can I even expect to like be able to show up for like anyone else?
Exactly. And like sometimes our cells need like chill time, you know, or like sitting in front of the TV time or whatever, meditation time, yoga time, or all the like salvi healing time things.
Yeah, all that sacred time. Oh my gosh, like please.
Baths. I'm all about salt baths. Although I was like seriously about them until like a point, and then I just like stopped. Like that's a very me thing too. Like I'll be like really into something and then I just stop one day, and then it's like starting again becomes like a monumental task. Like it's like I have to talk about it to people. I need to journal about it. Like it's like and then it's like 6 months later I'm like, I've begun salt baths again. Like I actually found these really cool bath bombs at Whole Foods, and they just like, I don't know, it was like a dark day. It was like one of those dark days, which is like the past like 2 months has been like a lot of those dark days where it's like, oh no, there's lots of clouds in my head. It's very stormy. So like, let's go to Whole Foods and get some kale. And then I like was randomly like just wandering, and there's this bit, of course they know, like they know that this like this lady is going to come into Whole Foods. She's going to wander and like bump into this bin and it's going to smell really good.
It's like, what?
Yeah, they made it for someone like me. Like, I'm having a bad day, but they're really amazing. They're these like colorful, salty coconut oil. I don't know. So what I do is I like keep it on the shelf in my bathroom because I don't want to use it all at once because it's like $3. I don't know. Like it's kind of like I don't know. To me, I'm like, this is like a pricey situation. So like I'm gonna put it on the shelf in my shower and I'll just take like bits of it and I just like smell it. I don't know. Smelling things is like one of my like smelling good things is like my current salve, I think.
Ooh,
like
aromatherapy. Oh my gosh. Like I can't even like express like how many like essential oils I have. It just like on play, like whenever I need them, like, okay, lavender right by the bed, whenever like I like need some help going to sleep or something like that. I always like go into those moments where I'm just like, I just need some extra assistance just anywhere. Like,
give me assistance. Please, assistance. I also like toys. I have like a lot of little toys just like in random spots around my apartment so that like if I'm feeling sad, I just like look and there's like this like finger I don't know if you've ever seen these. They're like rubber finger monsters. Like you put them on your fingers.
Yes. Oh my God.
They're awesome.
I have one.
Yeah, that's so
His name is
funny.
Rodney. It has a very special place in my heart. It's actually like named after like one of my first boyfriends when I was a kid who like passed away a number of years ago in like a really bad car accident. So it's like one of those things, like I don't really hold on to a lot of sentimental things, but like that's one of those like really precious things where it's like whenever I see it, I'm just like, it like lights me up.
Oh my God. I love that. What color is it? Which color one is it? Like, cause I know there's like the orange and there's the green. Yeah.
It's like the like maroony looking one with all of these like legs and arms.
Yeah, that one's I don't have that one, but that one is awesome. Yeah. And like I'm like constantly on the lookout for one of those stores. And you know the store I'm talking about where it's like a store with trinkety, like fun
I think
trinkety
there's like one called like Target or Tiger something or Tiger Lily, I think it's called.
There's also the balloon store. Have you ever been to the balloon store in Manhattan?
No, that sounds amazing.
It is amazing. It's called the most, I don't know, on the outside of the thing, it says like New York City's most fun store. I don't know if it's the most fun store, but it is a fun store. It's a really fun store. There's like one of those fake wooden butlers outside, like holding, I don't know, but they have a lot of things like that, like Gidgets and Gadgets and Mad Libs. And like, I love shit like that. And like,
I love that. Oh my God. Yeah. I remember like going to like the children's museum and they had like this one thing where it's like, you got to sit on this platform and you pull the string and then you are encased inside of a bubble. And it was just like, I was like, why isn't there just stuff like this like everywhere? It's like, why is it only like targeted towards kids? Because it's like, I feel like adults need playgrounds.
Yeah,
we need bubbles and like rock places, but like I just need something with like a mini tiny zip line and like a slide. Like I just need like an adult sized jungle gym sometimes. Like
exactly.
One thing that I loved about Boston is that they had this one place that was called the Playground for Everyone.
What?
And it was like all like adult size like playground equipment everywhere, and it's like anyone could play there. It's like you didn't have to like bring kids or anything, and it was just like, yes, this is like so important, so vital to have like a free open space for people to just exist.
Exactly. And a lot of adults are like afraid to play because like my boyfriend, he's so funny. He calls it forced play when I'm like, we got to do something playful. So like I bought tickets to this immersive experience, which is where we met. We met in an immersive experience, but it wasn't that immersive experience. It was a different one a few blocks away called Slumu. And it's a slime immersive experience. And he was like legit mad at me. He was like, I can't believe you got tickets for this. This is for kids. He's on Yelp, like, and it's like all these parents being like, my kids loved it. And like, we're on the train. He's like so grumpy about it. He's like, oh, this is going to be so lame. We're going to be all kids. And then he finds that like a review of this, like one guy who's like, my girlfriend and I went, we had a lot of fun, even though it's, you know, kind of supposed to be for kids. It's also for adults too. And he was like, okay, fine. Like, so you go in and like, he was actually way more into it than I was for like a period of time. I'm like, dude, I knew you would love this. Like they did have one of those things where it was like a slingshot and you could like a person stands in this like clear plastic cube and then the other person can slingshot slime at them. And they had the like, I don't know if you ever watched Nickelodeon. I didn't have cable growing up, but like my boyfriend was like, oh, Nickelodeon where they slime people. They had something like that. Yeah.
Oh my God.
If you're in New York City, I definitely recommend, going to it. You would love it.
Gosh, I need to check that out.
You also get to make your own slime, which is kind of cool. And they put charms in it. You can pick your own charms and there's like hundreds of charm options.
Oh my gosh. This should be like just required things to do as you get older, just for like your own mental like well-being. Cause it's like, I can't remember the last time where it was just like, okay to just play and just be, you know, it's like, I feel like the last time was like an improv class and it's like, you don't realize like how like pent up you get from not having that space in that area to play. You know, like
exactly. I get really pent up. I don't know. I guess like a lot of adults, it doesn't bother them being that pent up, but for some reason for me, like I can only tolerate a certain level of pent upness. And then I'm just like, okay, I got to release this like somewhere, somehow. And like, preferably it needs to be like fun, like not serious. Like, let's not get too serious about this. Like, come on.
I feel like it's almost like people put up these like borders. Like they think that it's like unimportant to like play. It's like, they don't like really see like the value in it anymore. And it's just like, no, it's like, you're still that kid. It's like that still exists inside of you. And it's like, if you don't like recognize that, it's like, it comes out in different ways. It's like, I feel like we just have different ways of like managing how we like are overwhelmed, you know?
Yeah, totally. Well, I mean, maybe that's why like a lot of adults like to drink a lot.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I don't personally like
Everyone
drinking.
has their vice.
Yeah, everyone has their vice. For me, like I used to drink when I was like younger, but then I got to a point where I'm like, this is actually not fun. And I don't actually like who I become when I drink, because I like become a part of myself that's just like, I don't know, to me is like not fun. Like I'm like, this person is not cool. Like I don't like her very much. So, like I'm just not going to do that. I mean, maybe some people are lucky. They become like really fun when they drink. I don't know. But then maybe that isn't lucky, because then it's a problem. Like you need to actually drink to access that part of yourself.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like it amplifies like it amplifies like certain parts of myself that I really like, but then it also amplifies like other parts that I like don't feel like I have like full control over. And I'm just like, I don't want to have the excuse of just being like, oh, sorry, I was just like so drunk. And I'm just like, no, I don't want to like put any like onus on anything else, because it's like, it's me that's making these choices. So it's me at the end of the day, you know?
Right. It's not the alcohol. I mean, I guess a lot of people blame it on it, but it's like, actually, that's your trauma. Like,
exactly.
You know, like you haven't processed yet. We all have it. It's okay. But like, exactly. It's not cool.
Yeah.
That stuff.
Like that's like one thing. I feel like there's nothing that really like tells you or educates you on trauma until it's like you experience it, and then like later in life have to like deal with it after the fact. And I feel like if people just structured it in a way where it's just like trauma is any moment in your life where it's just like the emotions you were not prepared for, like the emotions that were set on you, you were not prepared for. It's like, that is a state of trauma. It's like anything that you're not able to regulate or process in that moment, it causes trauma in your body. And it's like, it holds somewhere, and it starts off small, but it's like, it grows and it goes into all these other aspects of your life that it's like, becomes like out of your awareness, because it's like, all right, I've told myself not to look at this or not to address this. So if you don't look at it, you can't work with it. You know?
Yeah, totally. Maybe they need to change the word, because I feel like people hear the word trauma and they think like, I don't know, you were like
extreme thing.
Yeah, like you were like caught by like, I don't know, some people in your home and like taken away and like put in a bunker and locked up for 20 years or something. And it's like, no, it could just be like, it could be something really insignificant, but maybe for whatever reason in that moment, you were not able to process it. You know what I mean? Like it could be like someone taking your pencil when you were 8.
Yeah.
But it could have been that like also that morning, like your grandmother died or something. And then like someone took your pencil, and then someone pushed you on the playground, and like they kind of all like pile up to like add up to be something that you're like, oh, your body's like, I can't deal with all this, like I need to just shut down or lock it away or like, So maybe it's, I don't know, there needs to be a new name, something different.
Yeah,
something
exactly.
Cool.
Something that's not so, I guess, like triggering when you hear it. Something that's like a little bit like easier to like be like, oh, okay, I can identify with this.
Oh, we could apply the SLUMU or immersive experience. When you go in, they ask you to like spell your name in slime language. So every vowel becomes a double O. So like I was like Ululu or something. That was my name. Instead of Allison, it's like Ululu. So if it was trauma, it would be like TR. True moo. It's true moo.
Yeah, you just got a bit of true moo. That's all. Like that's you're just
that's what it is. Yeah, just like I don't know, find a way that's fun to process it, or maybe not
instantly make it funner.
Yeah, like trauma can be fun.
Yeah, it really can be, because it's like I feel like that was like one exercise that really helped me in like really dark moments, was putting a name or like a personality to like that voice inside of my head that was like beating me up. It's like, oh, Jerry Frary's going off the rails again, telling me I'm worthless.
Oh my God.
Jerry Frary.
Jerry Frary.
Like that separation. So you less identify with the voices and the thoughts inside of your head. Because I love that. You aren't your thoughts, it's like by the end of the day, it's like you're not that. And it's like when you are in that dark space, it's like it's not that you like, oh, I don't want to live anymore or anything like that. It's like I don't want to live like this anymore. It's like this current existence, this current version of myself isn't who I want to be.
Right. Like this part or aspect of myself that's suffering or whatever just has like a really negative self-talk isn't like all of who I am. It's just like a small part. And like I don't have to like Yeah, it's like when we're identified with it, it's like who we are. Oh my God, I need to do that. I need to do more of that. Cause I remember we did that one day. That was really fun. We like acted out our like shadow parts and it was like so healing. And
it really was.
then I
like,
forgot what I named my part. I need to do that for my inner bully for sure. Cause I have like a strong inner bully.
Same.
Yeah. I mean, I guess like who doesn't, it's just most people don't talk about it. Most people are like, oh, I don't have that. No, I'm like
I'm my own best friend. And I'm just like, yeah, sure. But I'm also my own like tormentor. Like I abuse myself. Like I had to realize that like later on in life, it's like, wow, I've been abusing myself like since I was a child.
Yeah. That is so powerful. Like, honestly, I feel like that needs to be like broadcast on Instagram. Cause like when I go on Instagram right now, it's just like everyone is just like, yeah, living my great life. It's awesome. I accomplished this and that and this and that. And it's just like, oh my God. Okay, great. We get it. You accomplished a lot of things, but like, what else happened? Like there had to be something else that happened like in those moments. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just like it is
toxic positivity. Like that's
like a very small picture of like, I guess I'm like, I could start doing that, but then I'm like, I just like don't actually like it feels inauthentic for me to like focus all of my energy to just like be convincing people through pictures and videos of like how amazing I am. Like I just am like, I really just can't do that anymore.
I don't have that energy to do it. Like I just really don't. I don't want to market myself in that way. And I'm just like, I have to like just be authentic and honest, even if it's like uncomfortable and ugly, because it's like all of those parts are like true and honest and worth loving. Yeah.
I just put bracelets on. I don't know. I just wanted to I literally put these bracelets next to my computer when I was setting it up earlier for this talk. And then I like just found them with my hand. I was like, oh, bracelets. Like that's another thing. Costumes. Like I feel that like clothing, costumes, wigs, hats, like all of those things, masks are like such cool tools for like exploring these different aspects of myself, like, like today I'm sort of this like serious but playful, like, I don't know, like a little dot of pink here. I'm wearing like a one suit, but it has little lightning bolts. So, like, okay. And then I've got the pink here, anyways,
I love that.
Like, but like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like clothes are so funny. Like they're so interesting. When I used to temp in corporate, that was a problem for me because that was too serious. Like, I'm just like, are you serious? Like I need to wear a pencil skirt and like a suit jacket. Like pencil skirts are the worst. Like I don't think they should be legal.
Yeah, they really shouldn't. It's like, okay, if you only want to walk like 5 inches at a time,
you can't move in pencil skirt.
Like, don't ever let anybody chase you because you will lose.
You wouldn't be able to run if it was dangerous. Like
it really is.
I think they should be banned like forever.
There's so many like ridiculous like clothing things like just targeted towards women, and I'm just like, this is like impractical for existing. Like it's just totally impractical.
If I can't ride a bike in it, then I'm like, I don't want it. Like, I mean, if it's a long poofy dress, okay, cool, because then I can tie it up in a knot in front of me. Like I definitely have done that on bicycles. Like I love poofy dresses and they're long and pretty and flowy. But like if it's too constricting and like you can't sit on a seat, I'm just like, no, I don't want that. Like,
it's like, I do not want to address this right now.
No, that's not good for mental health.
Yeah, it really is. No, not even at all. So like, what would you say are some other like tools or other things that have helped you like in your path of mental health, or like other like hurdles or something that you had to like overcome?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, play is like always been my biggest problem though is finding other adults that like to play, because if you're a playful adult, then everyone's like, oh, so you work with kids, and you're like, no, actually I don't, because like when you work with kids, you think you get to be playful, but you really like, because you're supposed to be the adult there. Like you're supposed to be like the manager.
You have to facilitate. You have to like make sure that they're not going to kill themselves, because it's like kids are like constantly trying to kill themselves.
Right. You get like a dash of play, but then you're like, I got to go into manager mode and like make sure they're safe and like, so you're like, no, I don't actually work with kids. And then you're like, so you hang out with kids and you're like, no, that would be creepy. Like as an adult that hangs out with kids.
Like, no, I tap into like my own inner child, and I help other people tap into theirs as well.
Yeah, so I do that. Yeah, I like that. That's fun. Yeah, how about you? What's like,
Um, I mean, I think it's like just been really hard to like find a like just a mental health like facilitating like environment that was like conducive to how I wanted to like manage my mental health. Like I felt like it was so much easier to find what was it like psychiatrists than it was to like find like therapists. Like it was so easy for somebody to just like give me pills or like prescribe something. I was just like, wait, no, I don't want this.
yeah.
I just want somebody to like give me like tools that I can talk with and that I can like conceptualize like what is going on in my head and like why I'm having these thoughts and these feelings. Like I don't want to just like jump straight towards medicating. I mean, like nothing against people who do need medication, like I get it, but it's just like I wanted that to be like the absolute last result, like last
Yeah.
resort, because it's like I've seen like the other side of like being on those pills and like having like seeing people have to like trying to come off and like how it like totally like warps like how they can process their emotions. And I'm just like I don't want to dampen this. Like I don't want to like shut this out. I just want to try to understand it.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I've always been in the same boat. Like, I mean, the way I grew up, my parents, like, we really just didn't go to the doctor. Like, we weren't sick that much. I was lucky in that, like, we grew up in an area that was like a lot of nature and we ate really healthy. My mom was really into like healthy eating, and maybe that was it. Like, we weren't eating a lot of, processed foods, and I grew up playing sports. So, like, I was just really lucky in that I didn't really get sick ever, too. Like, I was lucky in that sense. So, like, I just never really spent a lot of time going to doctors. And like, I think my parents' philosophy was always just like, if you can do it naturally. And I started doing yoga when I was like 18. And that really helped me out for sure. But then like the yoga world, like, anytime you get into like any like
it can be like
holistic,
so serious and just like
yeah,
so intense and like ritualistic sometimes. So
yeah.
it's like I like to just take those tools and then like recapitulate it into like my own way of being.
That is genius. Yeah, like pranayama. It's like, how can actually I started teaching yoga to kids like a couple days a week in the city recently. And so I've been like, I studied circus yoga actually, which is also like a really fun kind of
Wow. Oh
yoga.
my
They
God.
did
I
that.
want to
It's
talk to
created
you
by,
about that. Oh my God.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, circus yoga is really fun because I studied a little circus arts at one point, and then I got into circus yoga, which is also about like ritual, but it kind of like took the like seriousness out of it and made it playful because it's really designed for like kids and their parents or families. But like even like pranayama for kids, if you do kids yoga training, which I haven't done, but I was reading about it, they're like, oh, just make the breath animal breaths, like whale breath is when you take a big breath in and you breathe it out slow, and there's like rabbit breath or bumblebee breath. So I'm actually kind of like, as I'm teaching kids yoga, I'm like, this is actually the kind of yoga that really jives with me. Like, I'm not going to go to adult yoga classes anymore. Maybe I just get a kids yoga video. Like, that would just be my jam. So yeah, for sure, like yoga and movement have been like essential. Dance. Oh my God. I mean, like when I was in college, my senior year, so I went to school, I got scholarship for tennis. So I was like always an athlete playing tennis, and I never really had time to explore dance and so we went to this West African dance festival in Vermont where she was from, and it was like it literally, I'll never forget, like going to the field, hearing the drumming. For me, like the drumming is just like, I love it. Like, I think it's like, I'm not very in my body a lot of times. So like you hear the drumming, it's very it's like very much like grounding. And anyways, I just was watching the dance and like I was like, oh my freaking God, what the hell is this? Like, I need to do this. And so I moved to Boston after college, and I found the dance complex, which is this amazing dance space. And one day I was walking around in Central Square and I heard the drumming again. I was like, what's the drumming? I'm like, walking, running towards the drumming. And I look out there, I'm like, what's the drumming? And the lady's like, oh, that's like Ghanaian dance. You're welcome to try it if you want. I'm like, really? She's like, yeah, you just go and follow. You just try. Because the way they teach West African dance is the teacher shows a step, and then you get in these lines. And so usually the first line is people that have been doing the dance a long, long time. So they're the most experienced dancers, and you go back. So like, I was like in the last line when I started, because I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, and looking like an idiot, like Toby had to like totally just give up, like looking good and all that stuff. But like, I just was having so much fun. I was like, this feels good. Like, it felt good for my body to be there. Honestly, I think that dance form like saved me in a lot of ways, just because the music, the community, also like that kind of learning is very I don't know. I'm very much a kinesthetic learner. Like I like to try and mess up and fail. Like I'm not the kind of person where you can be like, do this thing now, like do this dance step now and get it right the first. Like it's like, no way.
It's never
gonna happen.
Like I lack coordination. I love dancing, but I lack coordination. It's like left, right. I was like, I don't like, I will panic attack really fast. But if you just like put some music on, like tell me to move, like let's go.
Yeah, let's dance. So like like I just kept going to those classes, and then I discovered like I just kind of gave myself permission in my 20s to like explore any dance form that like just I was curious about. So I like was like, oh, salsa. I went to a salsa thing with a friend. I tried that. I tried belly dance. I tried samba. I'm really into like the rhythmic circular dances. Like I love all that. Classical Indian dance. So for me, like going to a dance class that I'm really curious about, usually it's like a rhythmic kind of circular dance, like a more folk or tribal dance classes I really like. Samba, bachata, rumba. I love rumba. Oh my God. I just like love all those dance forms, belly dance. So yeah, like Bhangra. When it gets to like too serious, like if it's like really, I'm just like, okay, no, this is not for me. Like for me, it's about moving my body, exploring different shapes. Like you said, like I also like free dancing. It's like, what shape can I make with my body? Like what feels good for my body? So like, that's been like amazing for me, dance. And then improv and like, characters. I love characters, wigs, and like discovering. Recently I've gotten into like IFS and like internal family systems and like exploring different parts of myself. And then I started making characters out of like these parts of myself, which was like definitely really edgy for me, but really fun. And like, yeah. Awesome.
I love that work. I love that work because it's like it allows you to honor those parts instead of saying that like, okay, this needs to be gone. This needs to be removed. This needs to not exist. But I'm just like you can't just like banish something just because you want to. Right. Like, it's like, that's not that's how the world works. It's like, there are like balances of things. Like there are positives and negatives, but I love like in this one talk that we had at that restaurant, I remember like what you said, like so acutely. And like, it's honestly like been like a mantra in my life. Like, I just want to like, thank you for like giving that gift to me. But it was like this concept of like, there is no good and bad. And it's like, I really let that like sit with me, and like, just, it completely reshaped the way that I thought about the world, the way I saw the world, the way I saw people in the world, the way I saw myself in the world. And it's just like removing those labels was like liberation.
Oh my God. I love that. Same for me. When my like therapist, IFS facilitator said that to me, I was like, oh, like, because for so long I was living inside this reality of like, oh, there's parts of myself that are good and acceptable, and then parts of myself that are bad. And like, I need to, destroy them, banish them, like whatever. So like, for me, same, like it totally, that paradigm shift. That's like Dr. Richard Schwartz, who created IFS, internal family systems. He has a book called No Bad Parts, which I highly recommend for people that are listening and they're like, oh, like how do I do, what is that? Like, and he really goes in depth around that whole like philosophy and idea. Like, I feel like it's like a way of like perceiving the world. Yeah. Like seeing lens through to see the world. It's like, oh yeah, there aren't any bad parts. They're just parts that are really burdened, like, I have parts of myself that have like they're still carrying a lot of emotional pain that I'm still processing. And so maybe they're really young and like kind of immature and like I'm still helping them grow up a little and be like, okay, like when someone's mean to you, like there's ways to handle this that are not like, like whatever, being mean back or something like that, which is like an immature thing. So, but like, I feel like that's like a newer thing that I've only just stepped into in the last couple of years, but it's been awesome. Like I feel a sense of liberation, like, okay, I'm not fundamentally bad if I have a part of myself that sabotages. Yeah. It's just a part of myself. It's just a part. Like, let's get to know it. It's like, it's there for a reason.
Reactionary. It's like their defense mechanisms. It's like every part of myself like wants my greatest good. And it's like, there are like bad parts and there are parts that I don't want to accept. It's like, it's trying to teach me something. It's trying to like help me to understand something about like, you know, like whatever kind of like lesson, like if you are like a spiritual person, like whatever, but it's like, it's all there to like help you and to like reform how you are thinking and how you are being. And I realize like when I realize that I'm not growing, it's usually because it's like, there's a part of myself that I can't accept yet. It's like, and if I'm having like outward like hate or aggression or anger, I'm like, okay, it's not even there. It's like my hate, my anger, my aggression, it's not out there. It's here. Like there's a part of myself that I still need to like reflect on and work with and work in.
Ah, genius. So, oh my God, like what if the whole world knew that?
It's like
Instagram would be a much more fun place, like for exactly. Sure. It wouldn't be like, here's my point of view and my point of view and my point of view. And I'm going to do a dance while I'm telling you my point of view. And I'm going to like stand on a rock doing warrior pose and tell you my point of view.
It's like, I'm right. Yeah, there's this book called, I think it's like called Right and Wrong. And it's like, it's all about that, like that idea of like rightness and wrongness and how like we put up these like battles and we have these like fights with people about like us being right and like them being wrong. Yeah, it's like science as a whole is based off of wrongness and getting things like wrong, you know, and accepting that. And like, but it's at some point, it's like emotionally, like when we find things that are wrong, it's like we don't like to justify that. When we see something outside that's wrong or bad, we're just like, no, I need to fix that. No, that's not allowed to exist. And yeah.
We've been so trained in that for like since like being a little kid. Even like as I'm teaching these yoga classes, they're for preschool kids, so like 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s. And so when I'm doing the class, their teachers are in the room, and I used to be a preschool teacher, so I totally remember like doing this, where it's like, you know, going into that mindset of like, well, that's wrong and that's wrong and that's wrong, and no, don't do that, and no, don't. And it's just like this like constant programming of like, you know, crying is wrong right now because we're in a yoga class. And I'm like, well, I don't know. I mean, maybe they could go cry in the corner if they want to. Like, isn't that what yoga is? Like, you know, like accepting all our emotions, like being in our bodies. Like, but I mean, I don't blame them because I know like it's just how like the structures are like organized in our world. Just be like, yeah. Right, wrong.
Exactly. It's like when you're like crying or in that like emotionally vulnerable place, it's like people want to stop you. It's like people's idea of comforting is to get you to stop doing what you're doing. Yeah. And it's like when did like telling a kid no ever work? You know, it's like they usually just like go back around and they do the thing that you don't want them to do. And I'm just like, why not just like hold space for that? It's like, we always want to like justify or ask kids like, why did you do this? And get them to be like, oh, why? And like get them to justify. And sometimes it's just like, because it felt good in the moment. And like, that is enough, you know?
Yeah. I sometimes just randomly cry. Like because it's just like something in I think of something, or like, I'll think of my uncle who passed away, and I'll just like connect to his energy and I'll just cry because I'm like, I'm missing him, you know, and it's like a short cry. And then I'm like, okay, I'm good now. like I love crying in the subway. I think crying in the subway should be like a sport. Like,
like, so like, oh my God, I used to have this one joke that I did because I was like crying on the subway, like really bad. And then this lady comes up to me and she hands me a tissue. And I felt like in that moment, like I was kind of holding it together, but like when she did that, like I just broke down in like these like loud sobs, like uncontrollably. It's like she didn't say anything. She just handed me the tissue and walked back into the crowd. And at the same time, I was like, "You son of a bitch! How dare you!" It's like, this is a sacred space on the subway. I just want to cry. How dare you recognize my sadness?
That's so awesome.
It was like awesome, like so beautiful. It was just like, I'm just sad because there's no trees. I don't know.
On a subway. I mean, I feel like that's like humaning in public, which is a movement I want to start. For now, I'm calling it playing in public. But I love the idea of being like, let's all go on the subway and like do something that's really very human. You know what I mean? Like maybe have like a human dialogue, but instead of like fighting, being like, you know, right now, like what you just said, like I feel sad, and like the other person, like, I don't know, just like, I feel like that would be I feel like it's so interesting because it's so rare that we see people really actually humaning, right?
Yeah,
Like it's so rare for me to human actually.
Vulnerable. Yeah, it's really hard because it's like when you start feeling those emotions, you want to like bottle it back in. You're just like, no, not right now. I can't express this right now.
Right. Yeah. There needs to be like crying pods. That was like another thing.
Oh my God. Like, yes. Cry tent. I want a soundproof tent where I could just like pop it up anytime, like the grocery store or anything like that. It's like, this is my cry chamber. Like I needed like a utility belt, like a depression utility belt.
Oh my God. That's awesome. That would be an amazing sketch actually. Like you like go into a grocery store and just like pop out like, this is my cry chamber and like get in there. Just hear howling for a little while. You're like, all right, let's get those green beans.
Yeah. It's like, no, I'm good. All right, cool. It's like you might call it bipolar. I call it processing. Okay.
Right. It's processing. It's a pink pen, and that's what it's for, processing.
Exactly.
We need to tap into like Pee Wee Herman's consciousness because I feel like he is like, I don't know, like I'm like, he gets it in terms of like what the world needs to look like. Like, yes, I want a chair that's stuffy and smiles at me. And like, you know what I mean? Like I want the things in my world to like talk and like play with me. I don't know. And like, also like therapize me. And sometimes like,
that's so true.
Yes.
Yeah.
That world needs to be created.
That useful place, like at any age. Cause it's like, it's all there. And I remember like when I was like reading, this book by like Thich Nhat Hanh is like all about like Buddhist practices and everything like that. There was like this one thing that really helped me like with processing just like emotions and anger like towards like my parents and stuff like that. It's just like they're still a 5-year-old child. It's like think of them as a 5-year-old child.
Yeah.
Like they still like get frustrated and angry. They still feel scared and just unsure. It's like they still need to be protected and all of that. Cause like that's still there. Like whether or not they want to admit it or acknowledge it. I know it seems like so much time has passed, and it's like when you do meet your parents. I remember walking down the hallway and I'm just like, I'm in a house full of strangers. I know these people I'm related to, but I don't know them.
Oh my God.
Who are you?
Why are you here? Like
what is your story, bro?
Let's break this down. Give me the details. Like what happened when you were 5? It is that why when you're eating your sandwich, you get crumbs everywhere. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Is that why you like yell at me like so harshly when I have my elbows on the table because it's like you were beaten down like every single time for doing everything wrong? It's like, okay, this makes sense,
Right.
And it's like all of these things that we just never talk about because they're hard.
Yeah, but it's like it makes things easier. It's like that. I feel like it's like a Navy SEAL quote, and I never remember how it goes, but it's something like slow is fast and fast is slow, or I don't like slow is fast. It's something about how like the slower you move in, the more like thorough you are around your training and like how you're moving your body. Like you're actually going to go faster. And I feel that way about like mental health and emotional health. It's like tending to like the details of like, if there is a sad thing that comes up in me, like I'm really practicing like, okay, can I like pause and just take a moment with that? Even just a moment, just to like be with that, whatever that is, instead of just plowing through it and being like, I got to go to my to-do list and like, I got to do this and that, like it's definitely like an unlearning that I'm going through right now is like learning how to like slow down and do those things that like I previously told myself were like too hard, but it's like, no, maybe they're not too hard. Like maybe being with this sadness or this anger, it's not impossible. Like it's doable. Like maybe if I like in somatic experiencing, they call it titrating. And titrating is like a term that describes where you just like dip in, but you only dip into like something hard to the amount that is like manageable for your nervous system, So it's like, if you're dipping into like something that happened in your childhood that you have a lot of anger, like for me, I'll say like something I have a lot of anger around. It's like when I dipped into it, like my whole body was like, like it just went into overwhelm. And she's like, okay, so you can actually ask that to like only show you what percentage you can manage right now. And when I asked it, it was like 1%. And I was like, okay, my like inner achiever was like 1%, like that's shit. Like we need to do 100% today. And I was like, yeah. Well, thank you for sharing. But like 1% is what my nervous system can handle for today. So like, let's like dip in there for 1% and we'll revisit later. Like we don't have to do it all at once. Like it can just be like little bits at a time, like crumbs. Yeah.
That is beautiful. That's also like a little bit like of a yoga nidra thing as well. Like when you're like experiencing your emotions in like a visceral, like physical way, and just like finding where that pain is, and almost like talking to like your physical body and the way that your physical body is reacting to it, instead of like, okay, can I quiet this in a way or allow it to like move in a way, it's just like kind of like speaking to that physical part of like how your body is responding to it, and like playing with like opposites, and like, okay, what does this feel like? Does it feel like sharp? Does it feel warm? It's like, can I feel into the opposite of this emotion? It's like, can I hold the space of both of these feelings at the same time? And it's like almost like having this like separation of that actual thing, and also just like feeling the visceral like reaction of it.
That is really awesome and profound. And I like kind of have always wanted to do more yoga nidra. So now I'm like, okay, maybe I will. Wait, did you teach yoga nidra?
I'm gonna start to like I've been like practicing with it a lot these like past like 6 or 8 months, and like I'm going to like start these classes where like I like work with people with breath works and exercises like that, and not such like a hardcore way where it's like, oh, this is a rigid thing that you have to do. It's like in a way where it's just like, oh, I'm exploring my body, I'm discovering things in my reality, instead of just being like, oh, you have to breathe like this, you have to do this, you have to focus on this, you have to do that. It's just like, no.
I love that. You're gonna love playback theater, because I feel like that's so like playback. I mean, it maybe not exactly what it is, but it is really like, I love how like at playback theater, people can bring any story that they want to share. And then as the actors, you get to like you're not really reenacting, because you're not like, you're just regurgitating what they shared. You get to tap into like, what would be of service to them, and like, what can I provide based on this information that I've just received. And so maybe it's just like a movement that you do. It could be like, they have all these different forms, but you can use like metaphor, you can use all kinds of like cool, monologues, characters. You can embody like things in their story that are not necessarily people, like inanimate objects or parts of their body. If they share a story about being brokenhearted, you could play their hearts. Like you can do all kinds of like cool things like that. And I love that, because it feels like you're like in a laboratory of like exploring like the emotions and the body and all these things, like in a way that's like really fun, because it's like, yeah. Oh, I'm excited for you to go to that. Yeah, you're gonna love it.
I can't wait to check it out, man. That sounds like so much fun.
But also, I'm like, I want to come to your class too. So let me know when you start that class, because
for sure, I'll let you know. I'll send you an email.
Breath work is like, breath work and exploring the body and like holding opposites. I'm like, yes, please, let's do that.
Yeah, seriously, like that idea that you mentioned, like just slowing down. Like it's been like, it's something like hard for me to like, I guess, like sit with. But it's been so, I was just like so transformative, like, and it's all of these like tiny little things that are making these like really huge differences. I always like thought that like, all right, I have to like change everything in this big, huge scale. I have to like have this regimented life. It's like, no, I just have to put in one practice. Like, that's it. Just like one point of focus, and like, just try doing that, just even if it's like a little bit, like 5 minutes, or like even like 2 seconds of just like thinking about it, like just that practice of doing it. And then also like forgiving myself for like when I like fall short on it. And it's just like forgiveness and slowing down have been like my 2 huge mantras. And it's like, all right.
That's amazing. I want to practice more of that for sure. Like, I definitely in the last 6 months have been in some kind of like pushing situation. Maybe it's like the reopening thing. I don't know if other people that are listening are like experiencing this, because for me, like, okay, yeah, COVID was terrible. And like, it was horrible on many levels. But one thing that worked about it for me was like slowing down, like and I was kind of like, yeah, this is the pace that actually works for me and my system. And like, I always knew that. And I often kind of like would align with that in my life, but then I'd always feel behind. Like I constantly had this like feeling of like, I'm behind the game, I'm behind the ball, I'm behind like society and like what's needed. And especially living in the New York City area, it's just like everyone's going 10 million miles a minute. And I'm just like, can't operate at that speed.
Like shooting all over yourself. Like I should be doing this.
Yeah, for sure. So I think I kind of got caught in the trap of like, I'm curious to know too, for people that listen to this, if this happened to you, of like around, you know, July, August, when things, at least where we are, started to like kind of reopen and it started to feel safer to like gather and be with friends. Like all of a sudden I was like, I went into like, oh my God, like I'm not keeping up, you know, and I'm behind.
I still feel like I'm almost not ready for like a lot of things, you know?
Yeah.
It's I don't know, my mom is like really, really paranoid. I'm living with her right now. And she also has like a lot of like health conditions and stuff. So like she keeps up on like all of these like new variants and everything like that. And like how the vaccines like aren't working in like some cases and in some places like that. So it's like, that's that extra added paranoia. So it's like keeping this apprehension of like getting back out into society. And like, I am not the like tech savvy kind of person to like jump into like a lot of like Zoom things and like Zoom workshops. It's like, it's really hard for me to like stay put in front of my computer and like hold space with other people. Like I tried doing like a couple of like Zoom stand-up things. It felt like the worst thing in my entire life. like it felt like my first time doing like stand-up, but like, oh my God, there's just so much more torturous.
Wow. Yeah, I can see, I feel like stand-up, it is about the response that you get, right? Like there's something magical that happens when like the whole audience is like laughing and there's this like whole exhale and inhale. I don't know. I don't do stand up, but that's like when I've been to see it, I feel like that's kind of what happens. It's this collaborative thing, but you don't really have that on Zoom. Like, or there's not really a collaborative. Yeah.
It's like you don't get that same exchange of energy through people, like I feel like through technology. And I'm just like, I thrive off of that. Like I need that, because it's like I need to like actually look people in the eyes, you know. It's like that was such a pivotal thing, because it's like I'm not naturally an outgoing person. Like I had to fight every little ounce of myself like against this. Like I'm traditionally a very shy person and very reserved and very like held back. Like speaking up and speaking out was like very, very hard for me. I was like a late bloomer when it came to like performing. Like I remember when I first started doing performances, I was like, I would be up there for like 3 seconds. I was like, okay, cool, peace, bye. I need to go like check myself and throw up.
Wow. So was stand-up comedy and like performance, were they like for you also like part of your growth journey with like your mental and emotional health?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I guess got to this point where I was just like, all right, baby girl, like your looks and all that, it's going to fade. And you're going to have to develop a personality to make people want to be around you. Okay. So it's like, what's the best way to do that? Look at your idols, like Robin Williams, all these other people who make you laugh, make people laugh. You'll make them love you. It's like, okay.
Wow. Okay. That's amazing. What an insight to have. That's like a deep insight. Most people don't realize that until like they start going, you know, so you hit like 45, 50, 60 and you're like, oh shit.
I feel like that's like my problem. I always like internalized everything like growing up. So I'm just like, oh, it's never anything else's problem. It's like world hunger. Like that's my fault, right? That's fine. That's all on me.
Totally.
Like before we wrap up, is there any like other like last like tools or any other things that you want to share, or any things like you want to like let people know that you're doing, like ways to reach you and all that good stuff?
Yeah. Well, one thing that's really been a huge contribution to me in the last couple of years is the artist way. Love that journey. And so I did it and then was like, oh my God, this is awesome. I bet other people would want to do this. So I started gathering circles. I call them circles, playful embodiment, artist way circles. So I have a circle coming up starting January 11th, in 2022. And it's going to be on Zoom, which I know is, but the other thing that I am doing, and I'm actually this morning, I was just thinking, I want to start doing maybe like a weekly class called Playful Embodiment, where it's about doing some of the things that I was talking about, like embodying, you know, different parts of ourselves. I would say like this particular class is more for people that maybe have already done some improv or like have a really strong foundation within their like mental health, emotional health practice where they're like, yeah, like I would be totally cool to embody my like inner bully. Like that sounds awesome. Where, you know, I know for some people they're like, what the hell? No way. I'm not going to do that. That's like terrifying. So yeah, like, you know, be some like movement, like free flow movement. Really, I think I'm still trying to figure out like what is playful embodiment, like what's the point of it? I think for me, like when I think of playful embodiment, it just helps me get back to myself. You know what I mean? Like just like kind of clears out like all the like gunk and the clutter in a way that's fun and playful. So, so yeah, like I don't know where they can find out about that because I don't have a website. So
Well, we're gonna work on that. Okay.
we'll work on that. Yeah.
That's gonna be our project. And like I'm gonna make sure that this gets up within the next month or so.
Oh
Like,
my God.
sure,
Oh my God.
website
I do have like one
that.
of those links that I bought. So like I feel like it's just about like putting things in there.
Yeah.
Anyways, my brain does not work in website land, obviously, but like I do have an Instagram. So people could find me at Alison LeBrun. It's like ALISON LEBRUN, or at hello permission to play, or it's either at permission to play or at hello permission to play. I'm not like, obviously I haven't been spending a lot of time
in like the description and everything.
We'll put it in the descriptions and it will be right there. Unless there's a spelling error, which does happen sometimes, but I will then edit it. I will correct that.
Well, thank you so much for like sharing your time and the space with me. Like I honor you like to the moon and back. Like so grateful that you're in my life.
I'm so grateful for you, Foster. You are truly incredible. And I knew the moment when we met at Showfield, I was like, awesome. This lady, this amazing creature, like you're a creature. Like, I hope that's okay. You're a creature.
No, you are my spirit animal. You have no idea.
Yeah, you're my spirit animal too. So yeah, like that's that. So like, I'm so grateful that we got to meet and just all the ways that you've contributed to me over the past couple years now. So what else is possible?
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah.